Thank you for the submission, by the way, so we can get that in and give it to the viewers. It's just kind of rough. I'll be honest, just looking through it. But there's soul, there's drive, and he's really doing good trying to produce and, I don't know, make it better. So walk with me through here as we give him a nice free critique. If anybody here else wants a critique on their portfolio, what I would think, or maybe what some of the people in the comments would think, drop it down below. More than welcome to give the channel content and look through it. Also, we all like that stuff. So if you got it and you want us to see it, drop in the link below.
Testing whether or not my computer mic or this piece of crap is either better. I don't know which one is, but we're about to find out because boy was that recording rough. I'm also trying to test how loud I can talk here and how loud it's too low. I think right here is probably a little too low. I don't know why my computer is so sensitive to sound. Like right here, brother. I'm talking so low right now. I'm whispering. And I'm reading the decibels on this damn computer. And it's saying I'm screaming. I'm literally whispering right now. Somebody understand? I'm whispering.
So this is Chase Hernandez Portfolio. Also, if y'all read the title of the YouTube channel, might be somebody you know. Anyway, this is it. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the portfolio. Don't be too rough. If you have any critiques, by all means, please leave it in the comment section so I can see. Lovers for every single comment I will respond to. All 3 people from Argentina, I got y'all. I'm gonna respond. We'll have a good old conversation. So have my name, pretty simple, and then the idea behind having this kind of render of this building, which is one of my projects, is if it ends up being on a stack of portfolios, you have one, just this nice composition, very heavy at the bottom. But if it's for some reason just kind of poking out here, because why would the paper ever be flat? It's there. Oh, well, what's that? There's vertical, there's horizontal, or cross-hatching mullions. What is that? Let me see. Something to pique the interest. Now, will that ever happen? No. But it gives you reason, it gives you thought behind why is this like this. At least for me, I think that's a pretty strong point. So moving on, table of contents. Now, before any of y'all jump on me, yes, I understand the circles aren't aligned. I get it. But I needed to make a video. I needed to hurry up and get it done. So, but just to give you the idea, still sticking to that same kind of I don't want to say language, but commonality in design for this. Have the same design cohesion. The reason that it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is because I didn't change it. It happens. Did I notice it? No. Did I just notice it now? Maybe. But we have these beautiful silhouettes of the projects, which is just taking the kind of general shape into Photoshop and actually seeing it. I think Mamuni really likes it too. She thinks it looks really good. So, hello, so beautiful. This one's a little different because it's a little different of a project. I should probably get my hand away from the camera. Checks out. So just to kind of give you a little tease, the idea behind it is to just give you a tease, to pull you into that, to, oh, this looks good. I don't know the materiality. I don't know what this is. I get a feel for it. There's a ballerina off to the side, black and white, spotted lights. Weird. This doesn't really give you that tease. It just kind of gives you the project, which is not what I want. But it is there for now as a placeholder. This is a grad studio for an application. The biggest thing about your portfolio is always to play to who you're going to submit this to. If it's to a grad studio or if it's to a school, it needs to be delegated that way to a school. Think about, what do they want to see? They might not want to see work experience. They don't need to see a resume. They don't need to see any of these things that you would do the same to a job. They don't want a cover letter, at least on the portfolio, and at least on same with resume on the portfolio. So just thinking about who you're playing to in that way. So Don't worry about that. First project, Hollow Brick. 4th year project. My most recent. Yeah, most recent. Um, so last studio I had, and having this main thing as the focal point, and I kind of wanted that punch in the face for you. The same way when I flipped, it kind of visually struck you a little different. I think is great. That was the point. If it works, who knows? But I achieved what I wanted to achieve with this. Unless I didn't, leave a comment. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and we can go from there. Give me an idea on how to fix it though, if you don't mind. If that's not, like, comment, subscribe. Anyway, so we got the brick. Looks good. Hollow brick. Stained glass. You love it. Plants. You love it. You like it. Deal with it. Next, we got. Ooh, that's gonna be aggravating. Same thing. My goal here was kind of. It's a book. It's gonna. If you print it out, it's a book. So actually, the spread happens down the middle of this page. So you have site plan, concept statement, easy. Now this is the format of this is to fit a 1080p or a standard monitor because that's where most of them get produced for. Now, if you feel like your pictures aren't fitting, your renderings aren't quite the right scale for this layout, that's not a problem. Absolutely, absolutely change the format of your portfolio of the screen because no matter what, it can be 1980, it could or 1920 by 1080. It could be if you're doing an Illustrator, any kind of design, it can be whatever it needs to be to accommodate your design. If you have an intent behind why this is this size, go for it, do it 100%, especially if it makes your work look better. Unless they ask for a certain format, then you got to figure it out. So, site plan, to give you context, it's a little darker on the stippling. I will admit that, but it is to give you, you have the red for the site boundary, property right away, whatever you want to call it. And then you can kind of get a feel for that it's on a really, really urban edge with all these buildings, all this compression. You get some of the shade just to see how extreme, how tall some of these buildings are, how much they reach over, which is kind of a big deal with this site and why it's so far recessed in. But we'll get to that later. Concept statement, won't really want to go over that. If y'all going to read it, read it. I spent way too long on it. Knock yourself out. But hierarchically, I think what actually happens is most of the time people's eye gets drawn to this giant sectional just because there's so much black, there's so much color, there's so much weight being put right here on this, which may or may not be a bad thing. I'm not sure. Y'all leave a comment letting me know or maybe recommending somebody to send this to. And then I do admit urban analysis right here. We do have probably a bit too many words here. Beautiful colors, I think, and quite nice renderings, quite nice elevations and drawings. And that really gets my point across in the grand scheme of things. I could probably get rid of all of this. There's almost no need. And just to give the drawings a bit more real estate here, I think would be a little more successful. So on the next slide, we have it really grounded. Don't be scared to use a little bit of black. Don't be scared to do full page, full color. It it gets somebody interested in the drawing, in the thing. If it makes them pause, it takes up space in their mind. It's gonna do more good for you than hurt you. Now, don't make every single page big. Then it loses its punch. It's not gonna hit them the same way. Where if you have information, big spread, and then a few more informationals before a big spread. If you do a big spread, make sure it makes sense. Make sure it gets the point. Now, that saying, you can kind of see here you have this big um, cavity inside the building, which is the main reason why I had this, and also these stairs. I just wanted to show the connection of the building between this massive stair system and obviously volume with this one. Could I have taken these two walls away so you can see a little more through, so you can see into that library, so you can see into the retail space in the hallway? Probably, because depth is so key when you do sections, and this was a very big learning curve for me. I say learning curve, learning opportunity for me, just to see what and how do people really respond to sections. Like, what do people see? Are they really looking at this itty bitty wall right here that comes above the ceiling? No. What they're looking at is, how is this related to the rest of the building? What this actually is, and then where's depth? Anywhere with depth, that's where their eyes are going 100% of the time. These people right here, you probably never noticed, but I bet you noticed all these people and maybe the depressed dude here and these people sitting on the stools before you saw that. Your eyes are going to depth and color contrast. Always, always. And that's hierarchy in drawings. Even when you do drawings, there needs to be hierarchy, or at least the thought of it. Not too much here, but you live and you learn. You gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet. Anyway, so we got hollow brick. Another thing, the hierarchy in this page is a little rough. It's not the best. You have this wall section here that probably doesn't give you enough information and takes up too much real estate. You have these renders and axons that are a little rough. Kind of doesn't do anything for the project, especially in this portfolio. Might do something for the project in this portfolio. Not too sure about. 3D Axon, it does. I'm starting to see relation between this building and the sun, and also the site context. How is that working out? This should probably take up a bit more real estate on the page, just because it is so much more important and does look quite a bit better. It's really detailed for a drawing. Same thing with this one. It kind of just stops here, and having this whole bottom grounded in black could probably allow for this to take up the whole page and become the background, and then everything kind of play and adhere to it. Probably would be the better option. So, and then you have this urban analysis. If you want to read it, it's just telling you more about the project. But is it that detrimental in the grand scheme of portfolio? Probably not, and probably could be worked on. There's just not a real sense of hierarchy with these drawings that need to be redone. So, next project, as I'm sure you figured out just by me clicking the next page, and also, again, that punch. That's a big repeating idea in here. I want to give you a visual freeze of what happened, where did things go. It should just seem like this blows up on the page, which maybe or may not happen. Leave a comment. But the whole point of this, being it's so zoomed in and kind of focused on this one branch here and the project itself, it kind of fades away and is almost again kind of that same tease into what the project is. The residual, second year project, actually my first architectural project. Quite proud of it. I like it. Came out good. Took forever modeling, but I love it. This is a site plan. Pretty rough, I know, but gets the point across. You still have this sight line. You still have this. I mean, you understand fairly quickly. This is the building. This is the aerial from it. Um, Concept statement. A good kind of proportion. You still have this halfway uh point. This might could get pulled in a little bit to align with here, but we're just nitpicking at this point. And to nitpick some more, bringing this first floor on the first level and then second floor on the second level, so it makes sense stacking, so confusion's not really there. Which you're showing stairs. If you're showing stairs for the most part and it makes sense, like maybe the image is a little more displaced or a different sizing, I would always crop it to make it look good or to make it fit most of the time. But if you just can't and it makes sense this way, if you're showing stairs, most of the time you don't have to worry about it. It's pretty intuitive that this is the first floor. But if you're watching this video, you probably know that. However, residual floor plans. You got beautiful floor plans. First floor, second floor, looks good. Gestural model. Structurally, the hierarchy of this page is really nice. You have these big, beautiful squares that take up a lot of square footage. It's really dark and contrasty, so your eyes are coming here first, coming down, maybe coming to these gestural models, and then probably arriving at the floor plans, which is a little maybe backwards because this is where the title is, but I do quite like how it pulls your eyes from the left to the right. So, and you always want to think about where is your viewer's eyes at. So right now we just looked at it. We're here. I'm done. I'm bored with the page. I'm looking at floor plans. I don't want to look at floor plans. Bam. You get color punched again after your eyes just went around the page. And you have this beautiful couple right here in their later years in this kind of concrete woodish building. And here you can see a little bit of where that magic fades away. And then as you go further, you can kind of see what the ideal was. Now, whether or not this is a good rendering, obviously it's not the best in the world, but you always want intention on how the rendering is, because principals and architects look at that stuff. They look at, oh, well, this is, I see the idea, I see what he was trying to do. And then next slide, we have site plan again, a little different than the rest. Black, white, line drawn, pixelated, could be better. But uh, also this is kind of a excuse of a concept statement, but fix that later. So we have process models. This kind of situation is a little off. Maybe if this was the same font as this and it lined up, it'd be a little prettier. And maybe if this line and that line were the same weight, it'd do a little more, but that's nitpicking. We have this very strong on the page and prominent gestural models that take up good proportions, good um, section of the page, good hierarchy. So you have some iterations. Okay, that's nice. You started getting a section, and then we're starting to worry about structure. We got stairs, we got bracing, we got elevator. What's next? It's another full page section. So now you kind of get to see, oh, well, this is maybe all underground. The building starts up here. You have kind of this wooded area. Okay, it goes out to water. These people are 30 feet tall. Great, looks good, get the points across. Maybe this doesn't have to be so harsh of a line. It probably shouldn't. Probably should either fade or something of the sort, especially if it's going to take up this much space. Bring this all the way to the edge of the page. Bring this all the way to the edge of the page. And then this doesn't quite make any sense with this. But you gotta break a few eggs. Next page. This one I actually was thinking about whether or not to put in this video. I'm not the most excited about this project, but it is something I did, and it is something that was in this portfolio, this older one. But I do want to show it just to show what progress looks like. Like, you're not always gonna have the biggest, the best, the baddest portfolio, and it's always working. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself before I can get the biggest and baddest portfolio. You gotta trial and error. You have to work a little bit to get better and better. And obviously this render is nowhere near as good as the first render I showed you, which is also a strategy you can use. Put your best project first and your best project second. Put the best project you have first and then put your second best project last. So you have a good note to open up on and you get those people reading, and you have a good project on the end to, okay, well, that was a good project. So they can forget about this. Whenever you have this, you don't want to remember it. So we'll go to the next. Everyone has that 1 week project. Unless you're just like that, then you know. So we have a site plan, same kind of thing. We have this night, and this was a group project for a little bit. Everybody got to develop their own thing, and then it became a group project towards the end, and we all kind of collaborated on one project. Really fun. We did charrettes. We did group studies. It was great. We would hang out. It really, projects like that may not end up the best because you have to figure out how to work with people and get along with people, but the culture and the groups that it builds really is nice. And I did have a fun time building this. There was, of course, there was upsets and things like that, and you always, well, I'd rather work alone. I'd rather do this. Yeah, sure, the project might have been better. Maybe the project would have been better, but you got to talk with people. You got to experience what it is to work collaboratively with people, which is some things they just people never get until they get into the real workforce, real jobs in studio, and it's doesn't ever work that way. So we have some renders I did, not the best in the world. We got dude side of the bathroom, girl side of the bathroom, and a brick that was the first thing I could find. You got white concrete. white doors. So, like I said, not the best thing in the world, but process images just to show you that it's not always going to be glamorous kind of going through these projects. So, however, there's always going to be some good ones. Section diagram gets the point across. It's pretty. It makes sense. Oh, excuse me. Lord. So you have this air circulation. You kind of start to understand maybe these flaps are up to capture as much high wind as they can and circulate it through the bathroom. Makes sense. Have a floor plan. Nobody wants to look at that. Have a wall section, 5 block, whatever. Nobody wants to look at that. This could probably take up a bit more real estate, or maybe this can probably get gone. I mean, it's nice. You have a wall section, you have understanding of how a building gets built, but is there this? Is this idea the sun coming and hitting maybe some kind of pool to reflect into the bathroom? Maybe. That's interesting. This plumber here, is this an access way into the back of all the plumbing since it looks like they all conjoin on the same wall? That's interesting. Maintenance is going to be really low because if anything happened, like that's the ideas you want to try to get into those people's heads that watch or going to review this. Will they? Who knows? But the intent's there. More likely to happen if you do. So also just use one brake line. I don't know why I used three separate ones right here. Just use one and make it an actual brake line, not a uh I don't know, crisscross, dovetail, whatever you want to call that nonsense. And then next project. This is the first one that y'all had saw on the beginning page. Lunex. This was a third-year project that, oh my god, I went through a lot of process to get to this. But this is just a big, beautiful sketch of it, of the actual project, which this is, you can kind of see here, it kind of cuts off. But this is when AI and stuff was first coming onto the scene, and you could do like watercolor, you could do sketches, you could do all the things. So I took sketched the elevation of it. Now it wasn't quite all of this. It wasn't quite nice to. It wasn't this nice to be honest with you. And there's a few elements that are kind of missing, and it kind of doesn't understand what's going on. But I mean, it made a nice watercolor. Now, whether or not you want to put AI in your portfolio, very, very big thing. Usually a disclaimer or something would be nice. And then the biggest one I have in the current portfolio, you have D5 AI render. Just kind of off right here. It's small. It's a little small, but you don't want to put it all big and bold and ruin the project. And if they ask you about it, more than of course tell them. It's just more upfront, and firms want to know if you can use AI and AI tools. So it could be a little, it's more shameful to hide it than it is just to, hey, this is AI, this is what I can do with it. Like never be afraid to, this is what I did with AI, this is how I implemented it in my process. Just please remember it's a tool. It's not necessary. It's not the guiding principle. It's not the design. It doesn't even know where the grass starts or why the grass is in the window. You know. But I mean, it will soon. But more on that later. Next, another video. So you have this concept statement diagrams. I usually go to this first. It's colorful. It's bright. It's at that first top left. Um, Maybe the font is a little all over the place. Admit that one for sure. Gestural models look good though. You have this kind of understanding of progress, a lot of model making. Still have some of those. Visual impact. What is visual impact? Some of this was actually done also a group project in the beginning. Some of these weren't done by me, but in a group project. And then another good thing you can do is always add somewhere here, which in the current one does, group project. What do I have? Group project for ARC 302, something like that. Just let them know, like, hey, this is a group project. This is what me and my group did. This is what I can do in a team. If that's because you always want your employer to know you can work very well in a group and you work well, and you don't also try to claim people's work for yours. It's a little gray area in portfolios and stuff because you need to show some of it for site context and what you're doing. Like obviously this right here is mine and this is mine. but you don't know what is group and what's yours. But when you're working really well in a group, none of it's yours because you all work so collaboratively and so well together. You almost never have anything that's yours. So you usually just put a nice little tag. Mine's right here on the new one. Made in group contributions or whatever the little tag is. So then you have these lovely renders, beautiful little yellow chairs, which I was very happy with. I love how they just kind of fall into place. There's no exact leg, kind of vintagey. I kind of like it. So, and then you can see right here there is AI enhanced. You can't see it here because it's not on it. It's on the new one. But these two, was this one? I want to say this one was AI enhanced too. I want to say they both were. Again, whenever they first coming out, so big, so bright, so nice. So just making sure that AI enhanced, and then maybe not even for renders necessarily, because if it's something you modeled, it is what it is. But just to show off that skill, like, hey, I can use AI to render. Check this out. It's really exciting for principals and hiring people to see that you can use AI. It really is. What's not exciting is whenever they see you build spaces like this. This will never get used. This is what's known as a dead space. If you want anything on that, upstairs has a great video on dead space, and there's a few other great videos on it as well. Give it a look. Now you can kind of start to see this wall section beef up. This might be something worth keeping just because of the amount of information here and that it's also a perspective. Looks pretty cool, looks pretty nifty. There's some weird stuff happening on the ceiling. I don't remember what it is. Also, this is not enough roofing insulation at all. Also, there's really no concrete or deck. So, could probably use some updates. Kind of shows these panels how they reach off. Pretty cool stuff. Looks pretty, but functionality wise, to be decided. So, and then contact at the end. It's always a great thing to leave, even on this is the back of the book. It's why it's a smaller page, but it's always a good idea to leave a contact or something on the back, even though you already have it on the front. Especially for a job like a resume, which I should have used the one I sent to my job for this, so you could see, hey, this is how to really get just a fuller portfolio of stuff. But always leave a contact at the back, an email, phone number, something of the sort. Still make it look good, still make it look pretty, aesthetic, whatever. Just so whenever they close it, it's something that they can remember. Um, so that's my biggest thing. That's kind of my portfolio where it's at. Making changes to it now. But if you have any critiques on it, please, please, please comment, like, share, subscribe. If y'all have any that y'all would love me to look at and maybe critique for free without having to pay $300 for a desk crit, which no shade. If this for some reason reaches people's ears, absolutely no shade. And by all means, I'm probably gonna end up doing one of those because, as y'all saw, I need a little bit of work. Needs a little bit of help. Is it the portfolio? Is it the work? Don't worry about that. I'll worry about that. Don't worry about that. So, but that's my portfolio. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.